Hi, everybody. So I'm here with Terry Eliason, who is our chief weather producer here at WBZ and CBS News Boston. We don't typically chat very often.
It's a rarity.
It's a rarity.
Something must be going on.
But we have a severe geomagnetic storm watch issued for the first time in 20 years as an unusual solar event. So that's going to perk people's ears up. They've heard about a sunspot, but what does this mean?
First time since 2005 we've had one of these severe geomagnetic storm watches, and it sounds scary, but in actuality I think this is largely kind of exciting news, because really in the end what it means is we have a real good shot at seeing the northern lights, the aurora borealis, down in our latitudes over the next couple of days. So what's going on right now is there's a very large sunspot on the surface of the sun.
And just to put it in perspective, it's 16 times larger than Earth.
Yes.
That's what we're looking at.
You're looking at a spot that's basically, if you put 16 Earths next to each other, that's about the size of that sunspot.
It's hard to wrap your mind around that.
It really is. And so what's happened is this giant sunspot has been emitting, there have been 5 what we call CMEs, which are coronal mass ejections. So it's basically been ejecting out plasma from the surface of the sun over the last 48 hours. And those ejections, because it's aimed, right now it's turned, the sun is turned towards the Earth, or that sunspot is, it's ejecting these masses basically right towards us.
Amazing. So what causes the aurora here on Earth?
So those coronal mass ejections emit particles, and those particles travel the entire distance from Earth to Sun, which is about 93 million miles.
Wow.
So right now, those particles are traveling at over 1 million miles an hour towards the Earth. And when they arrive here, they interact with our atmosphere, the particles up in our atmosphere, and create, on a lower end, they create, various vibrant colors up in the atmosphere.
Right.
Now, when you get bigger storms and larger ejections, they can wreak havoc with things like the power grid and things like that. But thankfully, this time, scientists believe that while this was a very large ejection, and these 5 ejections are actually coming together to form what we call a cannibal CME, which is like, essentially, if you think about the sun ejecting 5 different masses of particles.
Okay. Can I ask?
Sure, yes.
Why is the sun having this event happen? Why are the particles being released all of a sudden now?
Great question. So there is a solar cycle that goes about 11 years, and and so basically there are times when the sun is more active and more passive. Right now we are in the peak of the active phase of the sun, and when the sun's active, these sunspots tend to pop up here and there around the sun. And this is basically this particular sunspot is one of the largest we've seen in decades. And so when you get a sunspot that big, scientists tend to take notice, because any large ejection from the sun when it's facing Earth could cause a lot of trouble here.
And you said the last time a warning like this was sent was 2005. The last time one of these events actually caused trouble with satellites and what have you was when?
So in 2003, the sun was in a very active phase, and there were a couple of ejections that caused some minor problems up in space for some satellites, some spacecraft, but really you have to go back to 1989. And when we had a coronal mass ejection back then, the entire province of Quebec lost power for several days. The power grid essentially went down up that way.
Now, of course, if you mention 1989, Taylor Swift fans are going to think that she has something to do with
I'm sure she has something to do with it.
The Auroras store just restarted. Somehow, this will be the Taylor Swift effect.
No doubt about it.
Even impacting the solar system. Anyway, no, seriously. So that's how common an event like this is. So there's no reason to be concerned. These are particles. Once they show us the aurora, and the particles obviously are going to come into our atmosphere, right? It won't do anything bad.
Here's the deal.
Please tell me.
Yeah, here's the deal. I was just on a call with NOAA this morning, and they basically, the thing about forecasting auroras and solar flares, is that it's forecasting weather is hard enough. Forecasting these types of things is extremely difficult.
Completely unpredictable.
Yeah, so you're talking about a 93 million mile area from sun to Earth, and a bunch of particles that are zipping our way at amazing speeds, and trying to predict A, when they get here, B, when they do get here, is it going to be a glancing blow off the Earth's atmosphere or entirely absorbed? And those are things that they really don't know specifically until about 30 minutes before they arrive. So and then
the clock countdown begins.
There are satellites about 1 million miles out from the surface of the Earth that will detect when these flares arrive, when the masses, coronal mass ejections arrive. They will, at that point, have a real good understanding of, okay, this is how bad it's going to be. This is how intense it's going to be. So it's a very short window of notice. But
we will have a little warning.
A little warning. But scientists and astronomers have, been studying this for the past 2 days, and they do believe that this is not one of those events that's going to cause any massive outages, grid problems. Probably just the friendly auroras, but a little bit farther south than what is typical.
So that's the great news here. It's sort of a fantastic science lesson. Nothing bad is going to happen, but this sunspot is visible to the eye, and the aurora will be visible. And so it's just kind of a fun days-long science experience.
Exactly, and I will caution that auroras, again, forecasting these things are very difficult. So the best chance to see it.
Yeah, what's the timing? The greatest impact.
So, again, NOAA on this call this morning said they believe the earliest possible sightings could occur around 8 o'clock tonight, Friday night. Peaking overnight into the early morning hours of Saturday. So that's when they feel like the best chance of some sort of auroral activity will be. But again, that's highly variable, and they won't really know until it gets much closer.
It's kind of fun in this day and age that we just don't really know. We can't give you an exact time. So the best place to be tonight to view an aurora would be away from the city lights.
Away from any artificial light. You want to be in as dark a place as you can be, which would be probably away from any city lights, any artificial light. And again, I will caution, if you're thinking about pulling an all-nighter in the hopes of seeing an aurora, these things, since I've been here, I've been over here 20 years, much like yourself, and I've probably written 100 blogs about the potential of an aurora, and it's probably actually occurred only once or twice. So,
interesting.
But having said that, the potential here is greater than any we've seen in about the last 20 years. So I feel like it's definitely worth taking a look skyward tonight, especially if you're up 8, 9, 10 o'clock. And if you're an early riser, maybe make it even a little earlier.
Yeah, get up at 3.
Check it out.
And this is fun. We just had our solar eclipse about a month ago, right? So a lot of people still have their solar eclipse glasses kicking around the house. And this is a good use for them once again.
Yeah, so not the aurora, but the sunspot. So if you were to go out right now, and again, depending upon if there's cloud cover where you are, and put on your solar glasses, again, they have to be certified, and look up at the sun, you would actually be able to see very easily the giant sunspot that's on the sun right now.
Amazing.
Just really cool. We went out yesterday, Eric and I went out to the newsroom. Someone still had their glasses out there. When we went outside, looked up, and it's like, oh my goodness, you can actually see this giant sunspot.
Sure enough. It's the police song. There's a little black spot on the sun today.
There you go.
You got to play that under the newscast, right?
There you go. I love it. I love it. So I would just say, again, these are amazing events when they occur. An aurora, I saw a glimpse of one once, and it was back in 2003 when we had the other solar spot. And just even to see a glimpse, it's really breathtaking. It's something that you don't want to miss. It's kind of a bucket list thing.
Right.
But I wouldn't bet the house that you're going to see anything tonight.
We can keep our fingers crossed and hope. But what a great event after the solar eclipse. Bring the kids out, make a fun science lesson out of it.
Yeah.
A family memory.
There are things bigger than us going on in the universe. And again, here's this solar flare 93 million miles away, chugging our way. And let's see what happens.
So fun to think about. All right, Terry Lyson from our WBZ Weather Department. Thanks so much.
You're very welcome.
And enjoy, hopefully, seeing the aurora.
Good luck.